Hi everybody, welcome back to Brelsford Family Homestead. Today is corn day. I've been really looking forward to this. We are super low or maybe even out of corn in the freezer, so I want to restock that. This year I am also going to be canning some cream style corn to be used in a dish called corn bake that my family enjoys, so I want to put that in the pantry. I don't think I'm just gonna can straight corn just because we prefer it, the freshness and crispiness of it when it's frozen. And I only got 10 dozen, which granted is a lot, but last year I got 12. So I probably should have gotten a little bit more. Maybe I'll get more later. I am going to follow the instruction for cream style corn found in this book. It's essentially the same as this one, so you can find it in either one, but this recipe is found for free online at the National Center for Home Food Preservation. I'll try and put that in the description below. So the kids are out there shucking that. I'm just going to use quart size Ziploc bags. For that, I just have already written 2024 on there. We'll fill as many as we can. I have water going to blanch these. They have to be blanched for 4 minutes and then put in an ice bath for freezing. They're blanched for 4 minutes and then drained for canning. I already weighed out the 20 pounds with husk for the cream style corn. And I just got a couple other things ready just for helping to drain off water on the corn, just so I don't have a whole bunch of ice in the freezer bags when I put that in the freezer. I don't like it to be like all in a big chunk and a ton of extra water. So I have a couple of those. And then something I used near the end of processing corn last year, which I'm gonna do it from the beginning, is I'm gonna use an electric knife. I'll have to grab it. It's on the other side of the kitchen. It makes such quick work of cutting the corn off the cob. I know there's other like corn slicers and stuff. I don't have one of that, but using a knife is tedious and I always get like sores on my hand. So electric knife it is. So as soon as the kids are done shucking, we'll bring the corn in here and I'll show you my process. While we're waiting, I thought I could show you some of the other things that I'll be using. I'm using this knife. I have it linked below. It's Hamilton Beach. So it's not expensive, but you will need to let it cool down. It does start to overheat, so you can't just blow through all 10 dozen ears of corn that you have. I like to use these big mixing bowls once they have been blanched and then put in the ice bath. I take them out, let them drain some, and then I put them in up like this so that they can drain more. Just another way to help reduce the amount of water that is going into your bags if you're freezing the corn. Then let me show you what I got on the stove. I'm using this hot bath canner to blanch the corn just because the size is really good. They fit in there fine. I can put multiple ears and all of that. And then I have this back here with the appropriate amount of boiling water that I'm going to need when I go to do the cream style corn. So I did all of the math ahead of time and put it in a note in my phone so I know how much, because they give you like certain amounts per cups, per quarts, for pints, for quarts, all of this. I was like, that's going to be confusing. So tip, if you do this, do all the math ahead of time. Maybe I'll even put mine in the description below for you so you don't have to do it. It's time to start blanching the corn. I thought I'd have you down here first to see. I've got a couple of these crates full of the shucked corn. I have another one separate because I already weighed it out to do the cream style corn, and we're going to do that after we've done all the bags for frozen. So let's get these blanched. Fortunately, my sink is right here, and so I have ice water in it. So we're going to stick a bunch of ears of corn in here, blanch it for 4 minutes, and then we'll take it out and get it into the sink to cool off. And we're going to do that with all of the corn that we have for the freezer, so this will take a while. I'm not going to overload that too much because I don't want it to not be hot enough and not come back up to the boil. I do put the lid on just to keep that going. That'll be in there for 4 minutes before we take it out and then put it in the cold water and just rinse, repeat until it's done, and then we'll start cutting it off of the cob. I just noticed that my daughter snapped the tips off, and the recipe I was looking at did say not to cut the corn kernels from the tip, so now I don't have to worry about avoiding that because she snapped them off. Awesome. It's been 4 minutes. Then I just take this and right into the ice bath. Once the corn is cool to the touch from the ice bath, I like to take it out and just put it on the other side of my sink to let some of that water drain off. And then once it's drained a little bit, I'll put it in a bowl. This is what I do with the corn. Once it's drained a little bit, I put it straight up and down in a bowl. That way any more water can just run off the cob down into the bottom. Just reduces the amount of water that is put into the freezer bags. Okay, we'll do this a whole bunch more times. I thought I would share with you my favorite thing to use when I'm eating corn on the cob, because it's an absolute must to have a pool of butter to roll it in, of course. This is one of my favorites. This was made by my aunt who passed when I was about 23. So these are a treasure to me. I have a number of them. And then I also have these that were store-bought. My husband bought those for me quite a number of years ago. And then of course you have to have things to poke in the sides. I like these ones. I got them, I think, as a wedding gift or shortly after we got married. They're OXO brand. I like because they're big. Some of my kids like these ones that I think are available in most stores, at least where I am, where corn is like a thing. And they're just smaller. So you can roll that corn in the dish full of butter. How do you like to eat your corn? I'm a little bit more than halfway through the corn, minus the corn I'll be using for the cream style corn. And I had an idea. I'm like, why aren't I making the corn cob jelly? I have been intrigued by it, wanted to try it. So since we're gonna have all these corn cobs, we're gonna give it a try. It's gonna be in a separate video because I think this one will get rather long, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully it is delicious. Here is some of the corn all blanched and ready to go. Let's get some of it cut up so I can show you how I do it. I've got some of the corn already cut from the cob. I'm giving my knife a little time to cool off. So I'm gonna fill up some of the bags. These are just quart size freezer bags, and I'm not gonna actually measure it out. I know that if I fill this to a certain point, it will be good for my family. Sometimes I need more than one if my one daughter is feeling like she really wants a lot of corn. After I get these all bagged up, I will count and let you know how many I got, and I will get them put into the freezer. This corn was picked today, and that is definitely my preference because as soon as it's picked, you know, it starts breaking down. So if you can get it that day and processed that day, that is ideal. And I've gotten from this farm before, and it's always been delicious. And all through the winter, when we bring it out to cook it up, it's still delicious and tastes fresh and sweet like summer. Well, I have all of these corn cobs that will either be scraped for corn cob jelly or go into the compost. Maybe the pigs will eat them. I don't know. So we have that. I'm gonna set that aside until we finish the cream style corn. So these are all blanched, and I'm gonna cut them, the kernels off, and then take a table knife, and it's like taking the milk off, you scrape it. But I am gonna use my knife to cut the kernels off just because the instructions are saying, you know, to cut about halfway down the kernel. And with that electric knife, it gets a little closer, so I just wanna do it how the recipe says to make sure I have the best product. So I'll show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna still use this tray that I was cutting all of the corn in to freeze it. Did I say how many bags I had? This is how big my bags are, and I got 22 of these bags. I had 30 something last year, but I have all of these that are not going to be frozen. Plus I got 12 dozen versus the 10 this year. I may get some more before the season's over. We'll see. But right now, I'm fading, guys. Let's get this corn done. Okay, I'm just gonna cut these kernels off of here. And then I'll scrape them into the pan here next to me. I have never made cream style corn before, so this will be a first for me as far as scraping the juice off of here. So let's see what happens here. I said to do it with a... I can tell you one thing for sure, my glasses are gonna need a serious washing after this. This is like spraying everywhere. But I see that, that's gonna make that cream corn nice and thick and creamy. Awesome. Well, I'm just gonna go through and do this whole basket, whoops, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. I'm almost done. I have 3 more cobs. You can see how much of that is from scraping it. It's making a very sticky mess, but it's amazing how much you can get off. So I am going to make the corn cob jelly, and I am just going to use these cobs since they need to be scraped anyway. So that will, I don't think I'll do that with all of the others. With all those many dozens, I'm not gonna do that much jelly. So this is pretty easy. Scraping it right off. And it's really, I'm surprised at how much more you still get off of there after cutting it. So I guess this is gonna be some delicious creamy corn. Even though I did all of the math stuff earlier, I want to make sure that the corn and scrapings that I have here is what is expected to be there for 9 pints. I weighed the corn before and all of that, but so I'm just going to measure it out in quarts into my big Dutch oven so I can be sure to put enough boiling water on it. We need to have 2 cups of boiling water for each quart of corn and scraping. So let's see what we got here. I'm glad I did that because based on all the things given in the recipe, I thought I would have 4.5 quarts of corn, and I have 5 quarts plus 1 cup. So I need to add some more water to my kettle that is boiling to do this. And pretty sure I need to use a bigger pot. I switched to this pot since I knew it would fit. Plus I have all of the water in the kettle there to put in. I need to put that boiling water in here and then heat this up to boiling, and then we can start putting it into jars. I don't know, looking at how much is here, I'm a little doubtful that it will all fit in one canner. I might have to get out the other one. My kettle is boiling. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in here. And now I have to bring that back up to a boil with the corn before we start packing our jars. I washed my jars in the dishwasher and they're being kept warm in there right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the canner. This is almost to a boiling, so I went ahead and transferred my jars to the canner, and there's hot water in there, lid to keep them warm. That way, while I'm filming, I don't have to go back and forth in the dishwasher. This is almost ready. We're gonna fill these jars with 1 inch of headspace. You can add salt, but because it's optional, I'm going to skip it. I like to do that so I can just control how much salt we have. Corn mixture has boiled. Let's get canning. Okay, we're going for 1 inch of headspace. This is a bigger ladle than I usually use for pints. I think that is close. Actually, it's a little much, but let's debubble first. All right, that is good. Wipe the rim. This is paper towel dampened with some vinegar. A new washed lid. That is hot. All right, in the canner it goes. This canner is full with 9 pints and we still have corn left, so I'm going to have to get the other canner out, but we'll get this one going first. We'll get the lid on, the temperature up, it vents for 10 minutes, and then it put the gauge on. Once it reaches pressure, it processes for 85 minutes, so it is quite a long time. Okay, I will show you when this is all done, what they look like out of the canner and how many more I get with the second canner. I have to feed my family dinner too. I still have 1 canner going. I think I have 3 pints in there. I forget, maybe it was 4. I think it's 3. But I just opened the first canner. I thought I would show you what that looks like. I'm gonna pull these all out and put them on a cooling rack. And then in 12 to 24 hours, I'll check them. I wash them off and put a label on them. But I will come back and show you that process in the morning. Then I will have the final count, if that's 3 or 4. It's late already. I'm so excited to have all of this corn in the freezer and this cream style corn. I am going to make some of that corn bake sometime here soon before the holidays and share with you how I'm going to do that without using the typical canned ingredients or the boxed cornbread mix. I'm going to do it all by scratch and it's going to be way better. So I'll see you back in the morning. It's the next day and it is time to check the seals on our jars. I just leave them at least 12 hours. It's recommended 12 to 24. It's been, I don't know, 15, 16 hours for these. So normally you'll see that the center here is no longer raised. Take off the lid and it is sealed. So I need to wash these. There's a little stickiness because of the corn, but I always wash them before putting them in. I'll just go through and check all of them to make sure. And then I have some labels here that I already made. You could write on them with a Sharpie or a pen or something, or have other labels. I have a Dymo 4XL thermal label printer that I've had for years, that I had for other purposes before, and so it's just easy for me. I just printed out these cute little labels and I stick them on the lids. I used to put them on the front because I like to see it on the shelf, but it's really hard to get off the glass. So on the lid it is. So let me get these all washed up. I just take a sponge or a washcloth with some soap and get them good and washed and then dry them off. There's a fly. Guys, I can see myself talking to you. And all of a sudden I saw this large bug, or what I thought was a large bug, it ended up being a fly, on my phone camera. But it looked like it was coming at me. I'm like, what is happening? Anyway, I'm leaving this in for you to see that. These are all ready for the pantry. I've got the stickers on. I did get 13 pints and all of them sealed. I am using the Superb lids that I really do like. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos and that they're a blessing to you. If they are, please consider subscribing and also sharing them with your friends. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here and all of your kindness. Until next time, God bless.